What's up, guys?
That's in it. That's in it. It's going in. Episode 5 called Pria. I think this further cemented the show as a great show. And I don't think there's any more confusion as to what this show is. It's a sci-fi comedy drama. And this episode particularly finds its footing really well because it was directed by a next generation vet, Jonathan Frakes. We have Riker in the building. He's directing the episode, and it felt more like the next generation than it ever did. I think particularly because of him.
I definitely agree. I mean, it just had that level of gravitas. I grew up watching Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Next Generation, and it had that level of mystery and pace, and just one of those things that you've gotten accustomed to when you watch a Star Trek episode.
I think one of the things that Frakes brings to this episode is that more intimate setting where the whole episode takes place on the ship. A lot of the greater episodes of the Next Generation happened where they had very internalized conflicts within the ship, whether it was an issue with engineering or an issue with a mole on board, or just in general a conflict that didn't happen on a planet or in another star system. It was just a completely intimate setting. And when we get to all of the things that happen when it comes to Pria and Charlize Theron, it shows in the episode. A lot of the problems that they come across is, you know, looking for things that she's hiding and then dealing with the device that she plants in engineering. And it felt like a classic Next Generation episode. And
that level of mystery was just in the entire time, and it kind of kept you interested in what would happen next, and kept you guessing on who she was and where she's taking them. And then, you know, I just have to say one thing about Charlize Theron. She just made this episode, just brought it up another notch, put it in a different level. I thought to myself while I was watching it, it was like seeing a superstar walk in a high school team or something like in that nature, where it was just like this A-list actor, her presence amongst lower class actors.
I think Seth has an Oscar or an Emmy at least for The Family Guy. And
yeah, I mean, when you saw both of them together, there was instant chemistry, and that is one of the things that I've been talking about when it's Kelly and Ed. There's just no chemistry, even though we're supposed to be led to believe that they have this, you know, romantic past.
I've come to the conclusion that there will never be chemistry, or at least for the time being, because the way I feel about Ed and Kelly, that sounds like a freaking sitcom, and that sounds like a sitcom itself. Right. But the way that they were introduced to us is a couple that's going through some rough shit, and that's why a lot of the stuff that has them kind of reconnecting feels contrived. I feel like a lot of their interactions are forced, and so I've kind of given up on at least for now, trying to see that kind of reconnection or that rekindling of the flame. And I've just likened their relationship and their interactions on Orville to just two people that had a relationship and now are not in a relationship, more like two exes just kind of like having spats here and there.
I will say that she did give a really nice performance in terms of making us believe that she was jealous of the relationship between Captain Levesque and Ed Mercer, Seth. And I mean, that I commend her for that, because I actually saw her performance elevate, and I just wonder if it's because of Charlize Theron's presence. I just feel like everything was just elevated. Everyone's game just got brought up to another level. It makes sense,
you know, when Kobe and Shaq's on the court, everybody just like does that much better.
Right.
And so I wanted to make a quick note about what her presence on the show actually means for other shows, namely The Gifted and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Those two shows are part of a larger universe, and what Orville proves is that you can have Oscar-winning actors or actresses or big names just make special guest stars, and it kind of pushes the show to a whole new level. You know what we've been clamoring for, all of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans out there. We want to see an Avenger or you know, Hawkeye or some of the lesser names just make an appearance on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And The Gifted, while it's a good show by itself right now, you can check out my review back on my other channel, Element 7, link in the description below. It could really use that elevation, you know, even if it's just for like one episode or a few episodes sprinkled here and there where we get to see a mainstay X-Man just appear to help them out once in a while. It doesn't have to be purely about them, or just like Charlize's role in this episode, it just kind of gives that presence boost, so to speak. And you know, we get a lot of those Easter eggs in those shows and references to the larger universe, but you can see that it is possible to get these big names in the TV shows. You know, Liam Neeson and Charlize Theron aren't above appearing on TV shows, and so you can get McAvoy or Fassbender or even one of the lesser known X-Men like Cyclops and the younger cast to just appear and be like, hey, look, we're part of the universe, don't give up on the show.
Yeah, and then to add to that, it just makes the episode, if you say, like for example, The Gifted or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it just makes that episode much more appealing. I don't know if the word appealing is right, but it's almost like fan service. You know, you're giving your fans things that they've been clamoring for, affirmation or confirmation of that universe, that they're all connected together.
Definitely connects it a lot better, and it's a draw, you know. I wouldn't be surprised if the show's rating, I haven't seen them recently, but I wouldn't be surprised if the ratings climbed tremendously just because of Charlize Theron's presence on the show. I mean, she has a draw as an actress by herself. So even if you're not a fan of Orville, you might have tuned in just to watch what she was doing on the show.
Yeah, and she was absolutely beautiful in this episode. And so did Kelly. When they had that cocktail hour in the captain's quarters, I mean, they looked immaculate. Especially Kelly. Like, I just felt like her performance in this episode just got elevated because she had to step up her game. And she made me believe that she was actually jealous of this whole thing that was happening between the two of them. And I mean, the dress that she had on was just stunning. She's hot.
So in addition to Charlize Theron elevating everyone's acting ability, or basically just giving that presence boost to the show, the comedy actually joined in on the fun. I found a lot of the moments in particular very funny. When Isaac walks in wearing Mr. Potato Head parts on his face, I was genuinely laughing my ass off. And you know, just them explaining a practical joke and then have that in turn go into him. And
then finding out that his eyes are just for aesthetic reasons. I mean, just like, I didn't even know that. So,
and then in turn, Isaac, you know, in an attempt to kind of grasp the practical joke and the nature of humor, turns around and amputates Gordon's leg. I'm like,
it was hilarious. That was such an amazing scene when he walks out into the bridge, hopping on one leg, and really, really angry about what had just happened to him.
He was angry. Isaac was just like, "You told me to be creative," and I was like,
"That was so awesome."
It's like, this guy thinks creative is cutting off someone's leg, and you know, it dovetailed into another part that was completely hilarious. He was interrupted. You know, in the middle of regenerating his leg, he had to come back on the bridge with essentially a baby leg. With
like kind of like this jello-like substance of a leg just dangling all about so that he can steer the ship or something like that.
Yeah, it reminds me of Kristen Wiig's character on SNL where she's like this girl with like the baby hands. And I was laughing like continuously, and the comedy was just on point on this episode, and I absolutely enjoyed it. And as far as science is concerned, I wanted to ask at Neil deGrasse Tyson, whether or not there was some realism in how they portrayed the dark matter storm. I think that was kind of interesting. It's something that hasn't been, to my knowledge, portrayed before, so I want to know if that kind of like looks like dark matter.
I'm okay with it because I didn't even know that kind of thing existed. Did you?
Yeah.
I mean, like, how do you navigate out of a dark matter storm? I have no idea.
I don't know if dark matter storms exist. I just know that there's dark matter, and then there's, you know, studies going on with dark matter in terms of quantum physics and all of the astrophysics and stuff like that. And that's why I wanted to ask Neil deGrasse, if you're watching us,
just give him a call.
If you're watching us, tweet at Element7X. Just an overall great episode, you know, elevated by Charlize Theron. The comedy was on point, And the show continues. I mean, it's finding its footing.
Yep.
I'm no longer confused as to what kind of show this is.
Yeah, I'm no longer confused as well. And I just want to say thank you to everyone that has been commenting and watching us, showing your support in the comment section. It's really given me a lot of information about Star Trek in general and this show. And there's one specific fan that we'd love to call out. He called out that the back of the spaceship with the 3 engines, when they light up, it looks like lips with tongue sticking out. And when I saw that, I just started looking at it. Every time I saw the ship in outer space, I just keep seeing a mouth with tongue sticking out.
I was doing at this episode too. Every time the ship was on the screen, I was like, okay, show me the rear, because I'm like looking. I'm actively looking for this thing. So thanks to you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
I'm obsessing over it.
Yeah, it's just gonna be an open mouth with a tongue sticking out.
So before we sign out here, I want to give an honorable mention to Gordon's joke that was made at the cocktail hour or whatever.
Yep.
In that scene, Pria is explaining that she once had to attend a meeting where everyone kind of proved they were trustworthy by showing up completely naked and in the raw. And Gordon says, I guess you can call that finding a vein. And I giggled like a schoolboy on that one. I mean, it's one of those jokes that obviously, you know, phallic in nature, but you can see Kelly's reaction to it, Priya's reaction to it. I don't know if they got the joke or if that was their reaction, but his reaction to them not taking that joke was pretty priceless too. He was just like,
and I'm starting to appreciate all those like awkward silences that this show is really getting good at. Yeah, I agree. Like this show has really found its footing, really appreciating its comedic angle, its serious approach to their storylines, and I just can't wait for the rest of the episodes to come out.
It's mingling in a lot better now. Another honorable mention is when Alara Katan had to take his leg out of the room and his thigh just hits Mercer just ever so slightly. She's like, take that out of here, and she's like, okay, and they went like that. That moment was just funny as well. I mean, there's just a lot of moments in this episode that kind of cement itself as great humor and great drama, and that's it, man. I mean,
I know you guys have been talking about Star Trek Discovery as well. Let us know if you want to do comparison. I do know the majority of you, and maybe us as well, are in favor for the Orville.
Yeah, I don't think I want to watch Discovery, but if enough of you compel me to, I will watch it, and we will do a comparison. I know the majority of you do think that this show, Orville, is better than Discovery.
It's more Trek.
Yeah, it's more Trek than Star Trek Discovery, which is odd, right? Which adds to the other coincidence of why a Star Trek veteran is directing this show,
right,
and not directing.
And why is it called STD?
I don't know. That was their moment of levity.
Right. Well, that is it. The Orville, a whole new level. Keep watching it. That is it for us. My name is Flip.
I'm Element.
And see you next time.